right, good day to you. My name is Fred Oakman, and as always with me today is Mr. Jake Peters. We are PS This Is Awesome, a PlayStation podcast. This is episode 302. This is a show where we share our feelings about the current state of PlayStation. But before we get on with the show, I want to invite you all to subscribe to our channel on YouTube, youtube.com/PS This Is Awesome. Also subscribe to the podcast on your preferred streaming platform. If you want to make fun of our trophy list on the PlayStation Network, you can find me at anchorless_81 and Mr. Jake Peters at JakeSaw01. As always, you can write the show at PS This Is Awesome at gmail.com. Most importantly, don't forget to share the show with your friends. Leave comments, positive comments, just a little blurb. Hey, listen to your show. We like it. And you can rate our podcast as you see fit, preferably all the stars. As a reminder, this is a video podcast as well. You can watch the show if you prefer on that YouTube channel I talked about just a minute ago. For new and or longtime listeners, we have a Patreon. You can support our show for $1. The $1 level is called the One and Only $1 Club. That's right. Head over to www.patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome. To become a $1 patron, get a free die-cut vinyl sticker in the mail, like this one right here, and a shout out on the show. I will say this before I ask you how you're doing, Jake. I was trying to get to our Patreon site, and I was typing fast, and I missed, like, I did like maybe PTA-rion.com, porn site. So be careful when you're typing patreon.com because you might get some fucking shit that you don't want. So it's patreon.com/PS This Is Awesome. Take your time typing that in. And with that out of the way, Jake, how are you doing today? All right, give me one second, bud. Give me 1 second. Hold on. I just had to switch one thing. Say something real quick.
Check.
Yep, you're there. Sorry. It wasn't there before. It's recording now. How are you doing today, Jake? Swell.
I was just saying that I'm doing swell, but I was just annoyed by the fact that it's 10 after 6 and it's already pitch black outside because of fucking daylight savings time. I know it's kind of like everybody complains about it now, which is whatever, but they really should just probably not do it anymore, or just like keep daylight savings time forever, or pick something. But other than that, I'm doing okay. It's been it was a half decent weekend.
Yeah.
Went to your guys' release show on Saturday. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had a weird interaction with the promoter of the event.
You okay?
Yeah, it was just kind of strange. And like, I don't want to, like, it could have been all this like big misunderstanding or whatever. I don't want to like toss anyone under the bus or anything, so I don't say any names. But
yeah,
I was talking to Donnie downstairs before you guys were sound checking and stuff. Him and I were shooting the shit, and he just like came up and started talking to us. And I was like, oh, and you know, Donnie made a comment about how he I don't know if he's played at Voodoo before, or if he'd said that he's played nearby, but he's never played at Voodoo or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, you're in a band, and he was like, yeah, and he's like, oh, what's your name? You know, maybe I can set you. I'm always looking for people to play here, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Donnie's like, oh, you know, tells him the name or whatever. And then I don't know how it came out, but somehow it came out that, like, you know, I was in a band too. And he's like, oh, what's your band? And I was like, oh, you know, I play with Fred in his like acoustic side project. We're called Fred Oakman and the Flood. Dude, this guy, I'm not fucking with you. For like literally 3 minutes, I'm describing the band. He had no idea who you were.
That's so funny, dude.
I'm like, what? Because like it's literally your band's release show that he promoted. Yeah. And I'm like, because he had Donnie like look up on Facebook Sunday at the Station and like the page so that he could find them again in the future when he wanted to book shows. And he's like, well, what band are you in? And I was like, oh, I'm just, you know, like, I figure it's like he fucking knows how to get a hold of you.
Right.
He's like, oh, I don't know. Just like look it up in the phone and fucking like it. And I'm like, Okay,
That is
it was
really
just
bizarre.
It was just a weird interaction.
Was it someone pretending to be the promoter that maybe just worked at Voodoo?
I don't know, man. I don't know. He was a guy who was like, he's like, hey, I put this show on, and I was like, and he was sitting like by the stage while you guys were playing.
Was this to do with the dreads?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, that's not the promoters. I don't know who that guy is. That guy works at Voodoo.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is more to the story. So that guy works at Voodoo, and I don't know who that guy is. And he was talking to Matt, the guy who booked the show, before the show, and Matt was like putting in earplugs. He goes, "Oh, you brought earplugs?" And Matt was like, "Yeah, man, always." And I just started laughing, and he looked back at me and he goes, "Well, that guy thinks it's funny I don't have earplugs." And I was like, "Yeah, I've got some too, man. It's gonna be loud tonight." And he goes, "Oh man, maybe I should get some earplugs." And I was like, "Yeah, you probably should." I don't know who he was, but he was like
So he just works for Voodoo.
I don't know. I can't even say that. That was the impression that I got. The impression I got is that he worked for Voodoo and he was running the light system, like the lights that night.
Maybe he
is the guy you got to go to,
like in charge of getting the music there, and maybe like he booked the guy that made the show, that booked the show.
This is why this shit. Yeah, go ahead.
It's fucking irritating. It's like, okay, this is like literally a, I don't want to minimize the show because it's a great accomplishment for you guys, but like it's a small town show. Like,
yeah, right.
You really need fucking promoters and all this shit.
Yeah, we did it in our hometown. Yeah,
like
we didn't play it in a big city. Like we chose to do it locally. So, yeah,
dude, I don't. There's something about freaking Voodoo is just one of those places, and this is me personally. I'm not speaking for anybody else.
Yeah.
That to me, they act like they're too big for their britches in so many different ways.
Yeah, their beer's $1,000. I don't mean to talk trash. They did us a favor and we did the show there, but it's different there.
I get that they're successful. They have franchises and all this stuff, and they're really blowing up, and that's great coming from a place in Meadville. But it's like, dude, like, I just got the impression that it didn't even matter to them that this was like a hometown show, and it was kind of a big deal locally, and like there was a heritage here. It was like, to me, it was like, oh, this is just like, some guy who fucking went to Allegheny College and then like got a job at Voodoo, like doesn't give a shit about any of it, like just fucking hipsters out and works at a brewery and like
looks cool. Yeah,
I'm like,
he's a cool looking dude. I wish I had.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, like Voodoo's a fine place. Like and their beer's okay. Like it's not my favorite, but it's decent and people like it.
It's all over. But, they've franchised out. Like they've got places all over now. They got great. They've got a
huge compound now in Meadville that they brew. And I'm glad that they're still brewing everything in Meadville. I think that's great.
Did you know they quit having? They closed the compound down to the public.
Oh really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think it was just too much. What's that?
I said that was kind of short lived.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't make sense to have two Voodoos in Meadville.
Well, I think maybe they wanted the compound to be more of like a, I don't know, like Voodoo in town to be more like a bar, and the compound to be more of like a brewery. You know what I mean? Like you go in there, you have a couple beers, like you don't hang out there all night kind of thing. Yeah. It's just like then they have maybe events there or something like that. But I don't know. I didn't mean to get off the rails. I just thought that was kind of a weird interaction that I had, and then finding out that like he didn't even promote the show. Yeah, that's just kind of really strange. I got the impression that he had something to do with Voodoo though, so he must have at least like worked there or something. He
definitely ran the lights for the show, and he also, I mean, he was talking to Matt about his sound system before the thing when we were sound checking stuff, and like he was just like, "You sure you don't want to plug into our speakers, man?" And Matt was like, "Dude, I've got everything I need here." And he's like, "You sure?"
I will say though, you guys were fucking maxing out that PA.
Were we?
Yeah.
We asked him not to make it super loud, but Matt kind of does what Matt wants to do. So
yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was just that like, I think it would have been better if the if the instruments could have come down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't have to be quiet, you know what I mean? But like you could tell that it was being stretched. Now, granted, I had earplugs in, so maybe it sounded a little bit different to me, but it definitely sounded like you guys were stretching that PA.
Yeah, we play with earplugs in, and he wanted to mic everything, and I was like, yo, dude, just throw a mic on the kick. Give me some, maybe a mic on the snare, which I think was really fucking loud. And I was like, just throw vocals through the PA system. We don't even need bass to run through it. We don't need... He's like, oh, no, man, we're going to mic it all up. And I was like, no, we don't have to do that. It's fine. It's our show. We could have like been assholes about it and be like, we're not playing until you take the mics off. And I was like, well, dude, just put the mics on, and then if we need them, then you can just raise them a little bit. But like, there's no need... And then we didn't even get to properly sound check just because we thought that we weren't miking everything. I mean, it was a smaller show. We play out of fucking half stacks. You know, there was no need to, you know.
You didn't need to mic anything.
No, they were like.
I mean, you could have literally only mic'd the vocals and maybe the kick drum, and that would have been fine.
Yeah, yeah. And that's how we have done it in the past with different album releases there. But needless to say.
It was still a fun time. It was a great show.
It was. We played really well. So, I mean, we couldn't have done anything different. You know, we played fucking 15 songs, which is crazy. I was going to say,
how was that fucking hour-long set you guys did?
Yeah, that was tough. That was real tough. I'm surprised I can talk. You guys
don't play nearly that long.
Yeah, I'm surprised I can talk. We did all 10 songs from the record, and then we did 5 others, including the encore. Which was, we didn't want to do that, but I think someone started yelling one more song, and we obliged because we did have a good crowd. And if you think about it, like the openers weren't even from the area, so I think everyone that was there to see us. So that felt good. So, you know,
heck yeah, we
did well on merch. We sold a lot of stuff. The people who pre-ordered the vinyl record that hadn't gotten them yet in the mail were like pissed off that we were selling them at the show. They weren't like mad. They were just like, can I just get it here? And I was like, well, you already paid for shipping, so you might as well wait for it to come in the mail, you know? And it's just like, oh, that's a good point. So it takes a lot of time to pack, you know, a lot of vinyl records. I don't know how many we had pre-ordered, quite a bit. You know, I think probably around 40, to be honest. So that's a lot of vinyl to like pack yourself when you don't go through like a distribution company.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. Yeah. So that was my weekend really, was that show, playing it. And like, I'm glad it's behind us. Not that I dislike doing that stuff, but it's an immense amount of stress for me and the rest of the band. You know what I mean? Especially like we were going to book the whole thing ourselves, truth be told, but Matt offered to do it at Idle Star, and he does a lot of shows in Erie, and he's trying to build this promotion company, and he had some nice posters and stuff made. I don't think he sold nearly as many as he wanted to, but I think he was kind of charging pretty high for them. So he wanted $25 for one of those posters. Now, granted, they were hand screened, and they were, you know, he paid someone to design them and stuff. But I was like, man, no, that's kind of like a stretch. You know what I mean? Putting the cart before the horse a little bit. But I'm happy to have a really nice poster, and I hope he gets his money back on them. But yeah, so there's some left over there. So if any of the listeners are interested in a really nice hand screen poster, you might be able to talk him down to $20 even. But he's going to bring them to our other shows we have coming up here. And I told him.
Is he from Erie?
Yeah. Yeah, Matt's from Erie. He goes way back in the day. So he's been a follower of a lot of the bands Troy and I've been in. So that was a good time, man. Not a whole lot else happened, except we're going to have some nice weather this week going up through Thursday. It's supposed to be sunny every day. Been busy at work, and just, you know, it was nice to see all of the flood were at the show, which was awesome. We should have set up and played some songs.
Yeah, I was glad to see Nate was there.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if he was going to show up or not, but I'm glad to see him in Alexandria.
Yeah, it was nice to see those two. It's been a while since we've done anything as a band, so... anyways, we don't need to keep talking about all that. That was kind of where we're at. We're recording this Monday evening. Didn't get a chance to record it this weekend. And I guess we're just going to jump right into the PlayStation news and the games that we're playing, actually. So every episode we talk about games that we're playing. The show will be no different. And I am happy to report I have beaten Alan Wake 2. I have about 80% of trophies. I could easily go back and knock these out. I've looked at the ones. I think I could go back the game, like all games, will warn you before you end up on the path of no return. And it asks, are you sure? And if you say no, you have the leeway to go back and find hidden stuff and max out your trophies, I think. I chose to keep a save there, and I have beaten the game. And dear God, this game is so good. It's so good. Like, it's good with a capital G. I can't even like you play this game. Well, let me, because I talked a bit about it last show, and my concern was that I was going to get cut off of one of the character stories, right? If I had done this thing. Mm-hmm. So the game is set up to keep that from happening. So I went back and I started doing Alan Wake storyline. And at a certain point, it just launches you into the FBI agent story. It just forces it. And I'm her, and I'm like, I'm going to go back to Alan Wake's story. I go back to Alan Wake's story, and I believe it was like, you must progress Saga's story in order to continue Alan's story. So I'm like, okay, so they have this preventative stop in the flow of the character's story, and I'm presuming it would happen the other way, because it did. Because when I was playing as Saga, it was like, there's no turning back. Do you want to do this? And I was like, yes. And as soon as I said that, it says you have to finish Alan Wake's story part till you get to the point. So no matter what side that you're enjoying the story the most on, the game knows that you have to bring them both up the level before it lets you do the end game, which is nice.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was good. It's hard to explain, but I think I've done the best I can with that. You get into the end game, and I remember writing LJ, and I was like, yo, dude, I think I'm going to beat Alan Wake 2 tonight. I said, I got to the point of no return. I'm going to power through it this evening. And I play a little bit of Saga, and then all of a sudden it's like, you got to go and play Alan Wake's story a little bit, and then you got to go back and play Saga's story a little bit, and then it kind of forces you into the narratives. And it's like, holy shit, this thing at the end is just fantastically made. It's so good. The implementation of the real-time acting, like the I don't know, what do you call it when what are they implementing in this game? It's like it's real actors, and you're watching them. What do they call that? Like live action?
They call that like FMV or whatever, full motion video.
Yeah, so all of that integrates so well in this game. I will say there's one battle in this game. There's like mini boss fights, but they're never like really challenging. But there was one that was like super kind of irritating to me. And without spoiling anything, it's kind of a boss battle that you have to, in a game where your resources are limited. They do a good job of refilling your ammo and stuff before the boss fight. And even during the boss fight, like, there will be crates that appear and stuff that you can load up on, like get stuff. But like, it never really tells you where. Like, you'll hear somebody be like, hey, here's a little help for you. But you're looking around, you're like, where the fuck is it? Because the sandbox is kind of big in this boss battle. And you're like, I'm out of fucking ammo and this bad guy's attacking me. And I can't find the ammo that they're trying to give me to make it fair. So like you have to learn where the ammo drops occur. And then the boss is technically invincible, and it's not so much about killing the boss, but trapping him by like freezing him with gunshots and stuff. So like, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, it's this really weird play on a boss battle, which I think is really creative and interesting, but it was my least favorite battle, and it's towards the end. And if you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, Jake, you'll know when you play the game what I'm talking about. Because, like, you know, like, so they have generators in Alan Wake where you have to, like in The Last of Us, where you have to, and actually, The Last of Us, I think, ripped off Alan Wake 1. Did we figure out what came out first? Alan Wake 1 came out first, right?
Yeah.
So, you know the generators in Alan Wake 1 that you have to start the lights to get safe? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the exact same generator mechanic that The Last of Us uses for starting power for things. It's like you press X, you got to hit it in between the thing every 3 times. Now, you can't say Remedy came up with it, but the similarities are ridiculous because it is a generator in each game, and it's a vertical bar that you have to time it with. And the first pull doesn't do it, the second pull doesn't do it, and then the third pull will start it. Both games exactly the same. So it's like, it's a great mechanic, but I do want to say that Remedy came up with that, as far as I know, before Naughty Dog did. Naughty Dog uses it in their game. But anyways, those mechanics are fine, but there's also kind of like a mechanic in the game at different parts where you have to keep mashing a button to turn like a light source. And sometimes when you fucking mash that button, it moves so slow, and then you're getting attacked by things. And it's just like, oh my God, this is so fucking annoying. Like, can't I just grab it and try? Like, I know what I'm trying to do here. Like, I figured out the puzzle, but then not only knowing what you need to do with the light source, like, it requires like a feat of dexterity because you're just banging on this button, and then you're like trying to avoid getting killed by like the Taken. And that kind of shit bothers me. It doesn't happen often in the game at all, but it's annoying. There's some really cool puzzles in this game, some nursery rhyme stuff that are like collectibles that you'll figure out when you play it. This is all non-spoiler, I think. It's just like, every game has collectibles. They also have like radio. Depending on where you go in the game, you can pick up different radio broadcasts, and it saves to wherever, and you can re-listen to them. Same with TV advertisements and stuff, Night Spring stuff. And there's a lot of really cool shit in this game. And I have, outside of The Witcher 3, I have not seen better forest in a video game. Ever. It's fantastic. The wind is always whipping, and it's awesome because it creates an atmosphere and a vibe. Like the shrubbery, the trees. They don't really give you the sound of wind blowing, but as you're walking, it's dark and your flashlight's hitting shit, and you can just see the stuff like moving, and it's not unbelievable. It's not so outrageous that you don't buy it. It's like, wow, I've been in the woods on these kinds of nights, and there is something kind of specifically haunting about it. And they capture that so well. Man, this game is just so fucking good. There's a lot more jump scares in Alan Wake 2 than there are in Alan Wake 1. This is very much more a survival horror kind of game driven by narrative. So it's less action. So I've seen reviews where people are like, this game is fantastic, except like the actual gameplay is like so sparse and so kind of whatever. But I'm like, no, dude, it's perfect. The pacing's great. You can't, dude, you guys, the listeners know, Jake, I'm in it for the narrative. And like this game, like you think you get fucking drug along and you just can't stop playing it. It's so fucking good. And for the price point, which we'll get to later, I mean, you can't. This for me. So I haven't played a lot of games, new games this year. I did play God of War Ragnarok that come out this year. I don't know when that came out. 2 years ago. Yeah. So I don't know what games have come out this year, but for me, I know Resident Evil 4 remake did, but for me, this is, and I have yet to play Spider-Man 2, but I don't see how. I mean, I haven't played Baldur's Gate either. And I have not played Starfield, but like I just can't see how this game should not be Game of the Year, in my personal opinion. It's absolutely perfect. And for a game, to me it is, and for a game of this genre to be just transcending across like all gamers that try this game out. I've heard people on I'm not really a horror fan, but man, this game was amazing. Some people are like, oh, it's not really my style, but holy shit. So like for a horror game, for a scary game to get reviews as good as Alan Wake 2, that's a real feat. And Remedy are experts at this. Oh my God, it's so good. I can't gush enough about it. Like, Jake, you absolutely, and I'm kind of mad that you didn't start with this. I'm not mad at you, but I'm just kind of mad that we can't have a big full-blown conversation about it. Now, maybe you started it. I don't know. But that's what I've been doing, and that's all I've really been playing. And I finished it up 2 nights ago, I believe. So it's done. I might go back and try to platinum it, but I think Spider-Man's next for me. Jake, what about you? What are you playing?
So I platinumed Spider-Man, so I'm done with that. Mm-hmm. But I just did that on, I don't know, Saturday.
Yeah.
So I didn't really
Congrats,
play.
by the way.
Thanks. I didn't play anything yesterday morning, but I did last night. I did start Alan Wake 2.
Ooh.
So I'm like, I don't know, not very far, like maybe an hour and a half into it. And so I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. There's only 2 notes that I have. One is that I noticed immediately, so uncharacteristically, I'm playing this game on quality mode and not performance mode.
That's how I played it.
Because I noticed that unlike most games that have this distinction, this one actually, like when you're in the woods and you switch to performance mode, the game like deletes trees and shit.
Wow.
So yeah, so like mostly like shrubbery and like ferns and stuff that are blowing around in the wind and all of that. Like that stuff gets lessened. And so I was like, quality mode doesn't feel that bad, so I'm going to stick with it for now. Maybe once I start getting deep into combat or whatever, I might want a little bit more frames. But right now, I'm sticking with it because it looks great. It's a great looking game.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It's very cinematic also, so that fits the 30.
Yeah, the dialogue is a little weird, but I don't know if that's because it's meant to be like a campy story or if it's because it's written by someone in like, you know, Europe or what. But it's not bad. There's nothing bad about it.
Right.
But like the delivery sometimes, especially with like the girl that plays Saga is English, but she 98% of the time has an American accent.
Yeah.
But it's like certain words you can tell she's not American. Mm-hmm. And but that's none of that is I don't have a problem with any of that. I love the Sam Lake character.
Oh yeah.
And it's already like even in the first hour and a half, it's pretty fucking weird. And so I'm really anxious to play more of it. I just have to determine whether or not Sarah wants to watch me play it, because if she does, then I'm going to have to play it when she's around. If not, I'll be able to play it by myself. But I was going to start it yesterday, and actually yesterday morning, but my setup is in my edition, which has 6 huge windows, and it was really sunny out yesterday.
Yeah.
So like when it's really sunny out, I just can't, like I literally can't see TV.
Not that
on my
game.
TV.
Yeah, that game's so dark.
And that game is so dark that like it's impossible. But my one gripe so far, and you'll have to tell me if this is like how much of a thing this is, if you feel like it's good for me to know, is that I'm only an hour and a half into this game, and I'm already 100% over the fucking mind place. And I don't like it. I don't think that I get what they're going for and everything, but to me it doesn't add anything to the game, and it slows it like fucks with the pacing. Like, it's like you force me into this fucking mind place thing so that I can put tax in a board that there's no actual sleuthing going on. It's like I've got 5 pictures, and then you just put them places until it links up and tells you the next thing to do.
So
and I'm like,
yeah,
it's like, it's not like they either should have gone farther with it and made it actually more like detective-y, or just told me what the fuck to do. Like I wish it was like in Spider-Man, when they give you all those puzzles, like the science puzzles, you can just press start and skip puzzle and it just like moves on to the next thing. Doesn't penalize you at all because the game understands that it might not be something you're into. That's something that I think would be great for the fucking corkboard shit. If I could just be like, I've already got all the clues, just skip,
put them on
tell me what to
automatically.
do next.
Right.
Yeah. Because like when I was playing it last night, Sarah ended up falling asleep because I spent 20 minutes sticking pins in a fucking corkboard. And I wasn't actually playing the game. And so, like, but everything else about it so far is really fucking cool.
Yeah. I've got some opinions on the Mind Place we can discuss briefly.
I get that, like, it becomes a vessel for you to switch between Alan and Saga later in the game. Like, I kind of figured that out already. Like, I'm not that far in the game, but I've read that. But the other thing, too, is, like, the corkboarding thing is annoying, but at least it kind of makes sense. The fucking profiling shit, though, is just like, what? Like, she's just, like, omniscient with this ability of hers to profile people. And it's like, you would have no way of knowing any of this stuff that you're just, like, absorbing from zero information. And it's like, okay, well, I get what you're, like, again, I get what you're trying to do here with this, but I think that it would have been better served it just like a cutscene or something where they're just like giving you the results. And I don't know. Like, I don't know how it's going to play out the rest of the game, obviously. Like I said, I'm only an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a lot like Alan Wake 1, where it's like intentionally kind of campy and unbelievable because of the way that like the writing interacts with the story. That's a really weird statement, but it makes sense if you've played the game. But that's my only beef with it so far.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any comments.
Yeah. So I'll just tell you something on a gameplay point of view. If you collect everything for a post-it note, like you're trying to solve something in the Mind Place, right? You collect, and then you hover over it and you see how many things you're missing.
Yeah.
If you have everything and you go in, my experience has been that they automatically get put up on that spot. It's when you don't have everything. So if you just collect a ton of shit and then go into the Mind Place and you happenstancely maybe have all the stuff for a part of a case, it'll just update that part. The other thing is that the Mind Place is more than meets the eye, and that's all I'm going to say. There's more to it narrative-wise. So it starts making more sense, and you start understanding it more, which is fucking hard to digest. But I don't think they could have done it any other way after beating the game. And to me, I think it's a big leap of faith, and it's a big gamble, the Mind Place, but it has a payoff, I think.
Well, I'm sure that that's true. I'm just annoyed with the mechanics of it, at least initially.
Well,
especially like on those ones where it's like, oh, you've got a new clue, but you don't know where it goes, and then it's like, oh, I've got to like now. It just mechanically, it's difficult. It's like I got to zoom out and then go to another fucking.
Yeah, that's true.
Like now I can't read because I'm zoomed out, so I got to zoom back in, and then like I go to a pre-existing branch and it makes a new branch that was never there before, and like, which I get. That's how like police work kind of works, at least in like this cinematic sort of environment. But I will say that like, so to me, like one of the things about it is that like they couldn't have differentiated themselves like a little bit more with the name from the Mind Palace of Sherlock Holmes. Like it's just, they just called it the Mind Place. Like it's almost the same word.
It's campy. It's not campy so much, I think, as they're trying to be intelligent, right?
Sure.
It's a play on reality.
But she even says like, oh, the mind place is my version of the mind palace technique. And it's like, okay, well, if it's your own version, like give it like a unique name. Don't just call it the mind place. Like that's so weird. But then like the other thing is that like the mind place, at least initially, to me feels almost like, I don't want to say like a rip, but like it feels a lot like the that place where you would go, like you played The Evil Within, right?
Just the first one so far. I own the second one.
So in the first one, you remember like you would go through the mirrors and you would wake up in like a hospital room, and it would be like an interstitial sort of like personal area where you can like unlock the lockers or upgrade your character. And sometimes there would be like a nurse in there that would talk to you and like add story stuff. Like it seems very much like that, this sort of like, what do you want to call it? Like sort of just like not real, but real kind of place.
Like a limbo.
Yeah, and so it just kind of gave me vibes of that. But we can move on. The other thing I will say is that because I wasn't sure if I'm not sure yet if I'm going to be able to play that game at will if Sarah wants to watch me play it. I also started Dead Space Remake.
Oh, yeah.
Because I found out that it's on Game Pass.
Oh, cool.
So I was just like, I just want to check this out. Like, I don't know if I'm going to want to play Dead Space and Alan Wake at the same time, because they're both very like spooky experiences. But I just started that this morning. I played it for like a half an hour, not really a whole lot, but it's what I remember. Dude, that game is fucking awesome. So
dude,
you get a chance to play it, put it on your list. Grab it on sale.
It's on my list. You got to play Alan Wake 2, man.
I mean, I fully intend to rip through it, but dude, I just got to determine like if Sarah wants to watch me play it, I'm not gonna like play a bunch of parts when she's not around and stuff. Yeah. So I got to be cognizant there. But yeah. So I'm into it though. I really like it so far.
I'll say this about this game. It's one of the most creative video games I've played in a long time.
Yeah,
they definitely march to their own drum, Remedy, and there's something extremely refreshing about this game. Playing it, it's just like it's not like a lot of rinse and repeat from other games that I've played. It takes a lot of cool things from other games, and then they put their twist on top of it. Which is just wild. There's some inventory management issues. Some of the things that you can find throughout the world can expand your inventory, but if you don't find them, you're operating with minimal backpack space, and that can be frustrating. So I don't know, but I do like it a lot. I think for right now, it's game of the year for me.
That intro sequence is fucking wild. I love the title card in this game. I just think it's so fucking cool how it's just like huge block letters.
Yeah.
Like it's just very
stylistic, man. It's
very stylish. Like it's awesome.
Yeah, the presentation is, I've not seen a better presented game in a long time than how they do this. And then just the sound. It shows up like every new chapter is like, and another thing they do, and I think I might have said it was episodic last episode, and I don't mean episodic as in like you have to download new episodes. It's just like it's segmented into episodes. So when you get through an episode, it says end of part, and then it will name the chapter you just played, and then like this fucking song will come on. And it's just a full 3-4 minute song, which is like this motion graphic in the background. You can just sit back, take a breath, take in what just fucking happened. Usually they leave you on a cliffhanger every time at the end of every episode. And it's almost like you're finishing a TV series that you can't stop watching. And it's like, wow, what the fuck just happened? Like, I can't believe that just happened. You know what I mean? And then you're like, and then you're on the hook, man. I was on the hook.
Yeah,
the whole
dude.
time.
And they like, I got through chapter 1.
Yeah.
And man, it's like, dude, so fucking Kojima-esque.
Yeah.
Like the song is just fire for the fucking mood. Like it just is so good.
Yeah.
And I think like I don't know this for a fact, but is it like a original song? Because it talks about
I think they were written for this game, yeah, because the lyrics,
which is so creative. Like it's the presentation in this game is top notch.
Yeah,
I will say that, and I'm only an hour into it.
It's dude, and I will say, and this could be a turnoff, Jake, but it took me about 23 hours to get through the whole thing, and I didn't feel like the pacing was bad though either, because the chapters give you a nice breathing. There was one chapter that was exceptionally long, and it was towards the beginning. So if you can get through that chapter and not be like a little bit turned off, it's the first. I believe it's the first chapter that you play as Alan Wake. It just seems overwhelming at first. So it's my only gripe about the whole thing was that chapter was like a little much. But I think they wanted to make sure you knew this was an Alan Wake game and you were going to get to play as him. You know what I mean? Because it starts with you playing as Saga. So anyone who's like a really big fan of Alan himself or the character might be a little disappointed that the game starts off and you're not even Alan. But they make up for it in Alan's first chapter. So anyways, we don't need to talk more about that. Let's get into some feedback. Every episode we have listener feedback. And again, this episode is no different. And you can write our show, preferably on our Patreon site if you are a member. And if you are not a member, you can write us at pssisawesome@gmail.com. You can also write us on our YouTube page with a comment. And on Patreon, you guys get preference first. So we're going to go with prescript_N, which is what I'll call him, prescript_N or her. I think it's a dude. They write in, congrats on the new album. It sounds awesome from beginning to end. I listen to the first two albums a lot when I study and do homework. This is our, I think, whatever person. Who's the pharmacist person? Nice to have some cool new songs to throw into the mix. Thanks for great music and a great podcast episodes. You're welcome. Thank you for the kind words. Thanks for checking out the record. That means a lot to me. It's cool when worlds collide. You know, I don't usually put records out with, you know, so that's cool. It's not often I get to talk about that on the show. So it's every few years. And up next is One Black Talon. Writes in because I was talking about how my controller was messed up last episode. He said the DualSense Edge controller is very nice. The sticks are replaceable. You mentioned a Sony sale on their website a few weeks ago, meaning the PlayStation Direct, and it says the sticks were very cheap, so I picked up two at a great price. So I'm glad you were able to take advantage of the sale that we brought up on the show, and thanks for the recommendation for the DualSense Edge. I don't know anyone else who has it, and I was thinking about this. I've gone through two DualSense controllers now at what, $70 a pop? So now I've spent $140 and I have no controller to show for it. So it's frustrating. And maybe the trick is to just get a DualSense Edge. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer. But speaking of on that real quick, right now, Best Buy has Black Friday sales, and I think some other sites do. You can get a DualSense for the PS5 for $49.99. So if you're looking for a backup controller, you can't beat that price right now.
For $50, hell yeah.
So I think I'm going to pull the trigger and get myself one. So that was our listener write-ins. You can write in if you want, like I said, but we're going to move on to some news. Every episode, we pull some news off the internet. We don't create the news. We don't break news. We just find it, and usually our go-to site is pushsquare.com. They are a great PlayStation website, so if you're looking for news throughout the week, you can go there and check it out. And if you want to hear what our opinions are on some of their news posts, this is where you can find that. So the first one, Jake, is just kind of a thing that is strange to think about, but the PlayStation 5 is 3 years old now. And up on Push Square, they posted this, and they wanted to get, their audience, they wanted their impression. What do you got? What's the temperature check on the PlayStation 5? Sorry. And I don't know. We'll let you go first. What is your take? 3 years in, PlayStation 5, how do you feel about it?
How do I feel about it? I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's a good console. I still don't love the controller, but I like honestly, if I had the ability to use my DualShock 4, or if they made like a DualShock 4 with the HD Rumble in it, I would have zero complaints about the PS5 other than the like random upload issues that mine for whatever reason has. But that might be a network thing for me more than anything. I'm not really sure about it, but my console seems to work great, so I haven't had any issues with it. I like almost everything about it, and other than the fact that it's giant and ugly. But yeah, I would say that it's been pretty good so far. The only negative, I guess, from a software perspective is that we've gotten very few meaningful. Well, I'm sorry. We've gotten very few Sony first-party games. And even though the console's been out for, I guess, technically 3 years, or it's almost 3 years old, one of the two. I think this week it turns 3. And we've gotten, I mean, every first party that we've gotten has been a banger. I mean, you think about Miles Morales, Returnal, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, now Spider-Man 2. So we've gotten 2 Spider-Man games. Trying to think of what else, even if there is anything else. Oh, Gran Turismo 7. Yeah, I mean, people argue Gran Turismo 7 maybe wasn't well received at launch because of the way that they monetize their vehicles and everything like that. But I think as a game, it's still very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have too much to say. I mean, to me, it's one of these things where, like, if you're not talking about software, the best thing that I can say about it is that I have nothing to say about it, because that means it's working great, and I don't have, because it's just a tool to play games, right? So because I don't have a lot to say about it, it means that it's working well, in my opinion.
Yeah, no news is good news, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my, snapshot, I guess.
Yeah, I have to side with you on the lack of first-party games. And I think we're going to see more stuff coming in. And in fact, that's going to segue into our next news point real quick. But I really feel like that's one thing. And I shouldn't even say just first-party. We got God of War, right? We got the Spider-Man. We got the Spider-Man. Well, Blue Point now, they were acquired, were they not?
Blue Point, yeah, Sony owns them.
So we got some of that stuff from Blue Point recently. We got, we have Bungie now, but even though they're first party, their games aren't going to be exclusive. But we haven't seen our Naughty Dog game yet. And I'm not going to just keep kicking a dead horse, man. But to me, Naughty Dog and Sony have become so synonymous with one another, because they have been, in my opinion, the crown jewel of Sony's first-party developers, first-party studios, and we just haven't seen anything from them yet, which is maybe, if it's not going to come out in the first couple years, then you damn well know they're going to put a game out towards the end of the PS5 lifecycle, and it's going to be pushing every fucking boundary it can have, because that's what they've done with all of their games. Usually there's 2 in a console cycle from Naughty Dog, and I think this time around we're probably just going to get 1 from Naughty Dog because of the factions thing. But yeah, outside of that, PS5, no issues. I've cleaned mine twice. The expandable storage is nice. I've used it. Everything about it, the charging ports, everything works. The disk drive still works. I've not had any issue, knock on wood. So yeah, my temperature check on that is that it's pretty fucking dope. I don't mind the way it looks either. Jake doesn't like it, but I don't mind it whatsoever. Doesn't bother me. Is it maybe not very elegant looking? Sure. Is it look like a fucking air conditioner? Maybe. But like, I don't care about that stuff. It works perfectly, and I use it all the time. always using my PS5. If I'm just streaming video on YouTube, if I'm playing games, I'm on YouTube with it. I've been watching Bosch Legacy season 2 on Hulu on there. It is my media center. It does everything for me. So it's not just a game machine for me, and it does everything I need. So I've got no issues. Runs my VR. Interface is great with the VR2. There's no issue. But let's go on to the next news point. The next one is, Jake, we promised the listeners we would talk about this briefly, and it's a bit. I didn't know what kind of news we were going to have for this episode, but let's talk about this. So Push Square has an article up, says PlayStation Studios, all Sony first-party developers and what they're working on. Because we're talking about the PS5 in the cycle, we're 3 years in. We're going to run through some of these. So we did get Gran Turismo 7, right? That's Polyphony. We got that. That was a first-party release. They worked on that. I don't know that they're working on anything else. They're just doing post-launch stuff. That was on the site. Team Asobi, that came out of Japan Studio. And it says on Push Square, the current project of Team Asobi is staffing up for a 3D action game. They're saying it probably is some sort of follow-up to Astro's Playroom, and hopefully it's going to support PSVR 2, which would be great because VR 2 needs another Astrobot game, 100%. Mm-hmm. That was the best game, in my opinion, on VR 1. Fire Sprite.
Yeah, Astro's Playroom is great. So
Yeah,
it's literally, it sounds fucking stupid, but it's one of the best exclusive games on the console.
It's so good. It's the same thing as saying you play Mario. It's like, it's a fucking good game, dude. If it's a good game, it's a good game. So I don't know. I'm not embarrassed to say that I really liked Astro's Playroom or Rescue Mission or whatever the fuck it was. Fire Sprite. They're based out in Europe, it looks like. Liverpool, England. So they worked on Horizon Call of the Mountain. And it says here, besides that, their website is listing jobs for a dark story-driven horror game and a multiplayer action title, but built in Unreal Engine 5. Some people are speculating, according to Push Square, that Fire Sprite could be working on the latest Twisted Metal revival game. Interesting. Guerrilla Games in Amsterdam. They do the Killzone stuff, but they also did Horizon Zero Dawn. So, and they did Forbidden West is the new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then, so they're saying that they did Call of the Mountain, which is true. And that was a collab with Fire Sprite, who we just talked about. And then they mentioned a online co-op game and possibly a mobile spin-off game for Horizon. There's been a lot of people in bigger podcasts than ours and bigger news outlets than ours that are starting to speculate if they're overdoing the Horizon shit. I never got to the DLC. We talked about that last episode, but Guerrilla, great studio, putting all their eggs in one basket, it looks like. So probably because of Sony's direction. Housemarque, dude, we got Returnal. What the fuck? I forgot about Returnal. It's not a PS5 exclusive though, is it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from Finland, Returnal, they're working on that, and we're getting I believe we were supposed to be getting something else for Returnal, or no? It says their current project, Housemarque, is currently staffing up for its next game. It's unknown if this will be a sequel or a brand new IP, though it should be noted the studio rarely makes sequels. That's a good point.
They did that Tower of Sisyphus or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So I don't know if they'll honestly, I would be fine with them not making a sequel to Returnal. Mm-hmm. But if they could use the mechanics and the gameplay of what they learned in Returnal and make a legit fucking third-person shooter action game that is not a freaking roguelite, it would be amazing. This is coming from someone who, even though I don't like roguelites, I loved Returnal. But if they could take that gameplay and put it into something a little bit more linear, I think that, dude, they've got a banger on their hands. Maybe even, I mean, it wouldn't be for me, but maybe even like a multiplayer component there. I mean, Sony's always looking. They're looking for service games.
Jake's like, I hate pizza, but I love Pizza Hut. I'm just kidding.
Dude.
Giving you a hard
Pizza
time.
Hut's fine.
But you don't like roguelites, but you do like Returnal.
Correct.
All right, fair enough. Next studio was London Studio. They didn't they, weren't they the ones that did the VR one, the VR game that was about like a spy thriller? Didn't they do that VR game? Oh, what was it called? It was awesome. It was like an action movie. The heist people.
No, that was London Studio.
Yeah,
right.
I thought
That's
so.
What we're talking about?
Yeah.
Blood and Truth.
Blood and Truth. They did Blood and Truth. Yeah. So they're from London, England. No one knows what they're working on right now. There were some job listings that talked about a PlayStation 5 online game, brand new IP, and we don't know. So I don't know that they're staying in the VR world. Media Molecule had some layoffs recently. They're out of Guildford, England, and they are done with Dreams. So we have no idea what the next project is. And I don't think we're going to get anything soon on that. This is, again, info that we're getting off of pushsquare.com. I don't care what Media Molecule does, personally. They just need to go back to Little Big Planet, because that game was great. Make a really good Little Big Planet game. And take away all the level creator shit. Just make a good Little Big Planet game.
I mean, even if they were to just make, like, what's the evolution of Little Big Planet? It doesn't even have to be Little Big Planet. It could be, I don't know, whatever.
I don't
Tiny,
know.
huge universe or whatever.
Little Big Planet VR.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Media Molecule is a weird studio. I hope that whatever but they're creative studio, even though they lost a lot of their OG talent. So I'm kind of hoping that they just buckle down and just make a cool, creative. A platformer would be awesome. Like, we don't get a lot of platformers anymore. Ratchet and Clank is basically it.
Yeah.
So it would be.
We
really
got that
cool
this year too, or this PlayStation cycle.
Yeah,
that was a great
so
game.
It would be, and even Ratchet and Clank is almost like a third-person shooter now, even a little bit.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
So I would say that, like, having another platformer like Little Big Planet, but like it doesn't even necessarily, like I said, it could be an evolution or whatever, would be a spiritual successor, would be cool.
Yeah,
I
agree.
that's all I gotta say though.
Into the mobile world, Sony acquired Savage Game Studios in 2022, and nobody knows what they're working on. It's probably going to be a live service game. In fact, it is. It's just not announced yet. It's going to be a AAA mobile live service action game, probably that will not be able to hold a candle to Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact. But hopefully they can.
Or Fortnite, or fucking Call of Duty, which are
probably going to fail
as well.
Sorry, Savage. I mean, you gotta
I mean, I hope they find
tough shoes to fill. Yeah.
I hope they find a niche. Maybe it'll be like, I don't know, like the next fucking
cool thing,
like 1024 or freaking one of those other like word space or something like that, where it's just like, maybe it's not. Oh, this said AAA, so it's probably going to be something. They're probably going to go down the Honkai Star Rail or Genshin Impact kind of route.
If they do, they just have to nail it.
Yeah, it's tough though. I mean, that's you're really, live service is a hard place to be as is, or to break into as is. But then you're going to throw mobile on top of it. Yeah. At least Honkai and fucking Genshin and Call of Duty and Fortnite, they have console and PC ports for those games.
Yeah, and they look
so
and
it's
play
not
great
just
too.
mobile, even though they have huge mobile presence. So
yeah,
we'll have to see.
I'm part of their success.
Cautiously optimistic about Sony's
mobile ventures.
AAA mobile presence.
I'm not at all. I think it's going to tank. Bend Studio, out of Bend, Oregon. We know that they made Days Gone, And we have no idea what they're working on outside of that. They've said it's an open world game and it's not a Days Gone sequel. There were some rumors that they were working on the new Uncharted. So if the new Uncharted turns out to be an open world fucking game, I'm fucking out. I'll be so disappointed.
I thought there was some controversy around the Uncharted thing, and that maybe ended up getting pulled out.
Yeah. But I thought someone's working on it. I think someone's working on it. I don't know who
somebody's working on it, but I don't know who.
Yeah.
But if it's Bend or whatever, I'm not saying that Bend would do a bad job. I mean, they made freaking Golden Abyss, which was a decent Uncharted game.
Yeah.
But like you said, I really, really don't want it to be open world.
No, me either.
I want them to tell me a story about Nathan Drake or Drake's daughter or whoever. I don't want a fucking,
Assassin's Creed
big
Uncharted
map that literally like it's just like now I got these fucking checkpoints over here and these markers over here.
Go dig for treasure.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. So we'll see. I'm sure they'll find a way to ruin it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
mentioned earlier, Jake, Blue Point out of Austin, Texas. We know that they are heralded as the masters of remakes, of remasters, of all the things. And they did the Nathan Drake collection for Uncharted. They did Shadow of the Colossus remake. They did Demon's Souls. And they were purchased by PlayStation in 2021. And they're working on an original game, which is a little outside of their wheelhouse. So we don't know what that means. An original game doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't a sequel. So maybe they could be doing the Uncharted title. They already did the Nathan Drake collection. They understand.
It's entirely true. Yeah, you're right. They could be doing the Uncharted game, or they could be doing, fucking imagine if they're doing like there was a huge rumor for a long time that maybe they were doing like Metal Gear Solid Remastered or something like that.
Jesus.
And I obviously it seems like Konami's got some other developer doing the Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is the Snake Eater one, but maybe they're working if they're working on an original game. I mean, it's not going to be a remake, because there was rumors for a long time that maybe they would do Bloodborne or something, but
right.
I mean, it could be Bloodborne 2. That's entirely possible. But I don't know. I am excited for whatever they're doing, though. I'm really I'm interested, to say the least, because they make such amazing remakes.
It's probably Resogun too.
But I don't know. That would be fucking awesome. But I don't know if they would do. I don't know if we've ever seen them do like an original game, like
Richard
something
2.
like truly creative. Dude, if they want to do Richard 2, they've got all the money. If in my opinion, they could just remake Richard. Remake it for PS5.
Awesome.
I'll play it again. There's a
platformer for you.
It's been like 10 years since I played that game, so I'm all about it.
Well, with staff from other studios such as Bungie, Respawn, Raven Software, and more, Firewalk is working on Concord, which is an online multiplayer game, space-themed, and it looks awesome. The trailer, well, we don't know anything about it. The little things that they've shown us, to me, look awesome. So we know what they're working on.
Yeah.
Haven, out of Montreal, are the ones working Fair Games. I hate the way they write this, because it looks like Fair Game to me, even with the $sign at the end. I know it's an S, but it looks like it says Fair Game. So anyways, this is the Jade Raymond studio. It's Fair Games is going to be a multiplayer shooter, kind of like Payday, but maybe a little more intense or different. Insomniac, we just got Spider-Man 2, and there is a separate team working on Marvel's Wolverine, and we know that's going to be a PS5 exclusive. So we know what they're up to. Naughty Dog, Santa Monica. We don't know what's going on next. They're probably working on Last of Us Part 3. I mean, we don't know. We're pretty sure, but fuck. I don't know. San Diego studio from San Diego. They are fantastic. They do the MLB The Show game. So they're working on MLB The Show 24. It hasn't been announced, but there's no way they're not. This was a studio that it was rumored they were helping out on a new Uncharted game. But there's been no new verification that this is the case. What a strange studio to have do this. I
want to say that they've done...
They worked on Pain.
Yeah, which was a while ago. It would be cool to see them do something other than MLB The Show. I don't know, like maybe they have another team, because I think they have a team that's not the show team that helps other studios out. Mm-hmm. So maybe that second team, rather than being a support structure for other studios, is just going to work on a new game. Maybe it's Uncharted, maybe it's whatever. That would be pretty cool, honestly.
It's possible, but don't stop making the show, because that's the best baseball game there is. Santa Monica Studios, Jake. Obviously, God of War Ragnarok, and that's the studio Corey Barlog is at. He apparently is working on something else, but nobody knows what it is. Sucker Punch is our Ghost of Tsushima, Sly Cooper, infamous studio. We don't know what they're working on. It's rumored, and nobody knows for certain. It would be stupid for them not to do another Ghost of Tsushima game. And that's it.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely doing another one. I wish they would just fucking say it already. Like, it's just annoying that we haven't heard anything at this point. But I don't know. Maybe we'll hear something here at the Game Awards.
So out of that, not a lot of concrete knowledge of what these studios are up to, and
mostly shit that we've kind of talked about ad nauseum over the last year or two. Nothing really like. It's like, oh, I forgot about that, or anything like that. It's just like, oh,
we haven't seen much of any of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to know what Naughty Dog is doing. All right. Anyways, let's move on to the next news points, Jake, and we'll call this show Dunzo in a little bit. For those who know, and for those of you who don't know, even though we've talked about it on the show, Baldur's Gate 3 has not had a physical copy made available for PS5. They have now announced that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be announced for anybody who wants a physical version. Not to mention there is still not a physical release for Alan Wake 2. I think this was smart on Remedy's part, because I think Remedy were able to keep the retail price at a reduced price going digital only. Remedy knew what they were up against. They needed people to play their game. And I think their studio in Alan Wake 2 has greatly benefited from the price point of this game. And I would have, having played it for $60, I would have paid $70 for this game. It's that fucking good. It's got the length of most AAA titles, if not longer than some people probably would want it to be. And I think it was a really smart move. Take a news point about Baldur's Gate 3 and turn it about Alan Wake 2. I'm just saying, like, this is the difference. Remedy hasn't announced a physical version. So when you release a physical version, there's more overhead for the studios, right? There's distribution costs, there's manufacturing costs, there's all that shit that then you have to make it up on the backside. You have to make it, or on the front end, right? You got to get people to buy it and make your money back. So, but just being digital, you can afford to not need to charge people $70 for the game, and you can keep it at a lower rate and hope that you get the majority of your consumers digital, and then you make a bigger profit. And then when word gets out, if you believe in your product like they did, and it's so fucking good, and people start talking about it, and then the price is $10 cheaper than all the other AAA games out right now, it's fucking genius. Who needs a physical version? And I say that because last quarter, only 4% of PlayStation video game sales were physical games. Why does Remedy need to take a risk and charge $70 when they can make it profitable for themselves to do $60 and be ahead of the curve? Makes sense. I think it's coffin nails for box snobs. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally agree on this. I mean, it's cool that like maybe there's some bespoke distributors that are offering up physical releases of games and stuff. I think that that's the future of this. You know, I just don't see there being a like it's like every other digital medium now. Like music, like TV shows and movies and PC games and mobile games and like I don't know. I mean, I think it's inevitable. We've talked it to death.
Yeah.
If there was a physical version of Alan Wake 2, would I buy it? No.
Yeah, me either.
But I will say though, Alan Wake has some legit fucking art, and like I could definitely see being interested in having like an Alan Wake 2 poster. Some of that fucking artwork that they do that's like all red and black with like Alan Wake's face and like it's just it's cool as shit. Anyway, it's tangential. Let's move forward. Although the next point's about Remedy 2, I guess.
Yeah, because I can't help it. And everyone's talking about them because this game is so goddamn good. Next news point. Speaking of Remedy, they did announce they were working on a free-to-play multiplayer title. They have codenamed Kestrel. And this game, they have pulled back on the reins. And they said, no, we're not doing it free-to-play anymore. Due to the ever-changing environments of the gaming landscape, we're not doing a free-to-play. They indicated that after a lot of consideration, it's going to be built more around their core competences and building another distinct Remedy game. Should also be known they are working alongside Tencent for this project, and it'll be a cooperative multiplayer experience. I think it's kind of weird that they're working with Tencent. I mean, Tencent has a ton of money, but they are they Chinese ran or something? I think they are.
Tencent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Chinese.
Remedy's in bed. No, I don't want to say that. But they are getting help from Tencent for this online multiplayer game. But I do like the news that they are taking away the free-to-play thing. They're going to start charging for it. I don't know. Jake, any opinions on this?
I mean, I think it's... If they are reading the tea leaves and they're like, we can make a better product and something that's worth buying by making it, not free to play, then more power to them. To me, that what this means is that like, this doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be jam-packed full of shit they're going to charge you for, but it does mean it does likely mean that they believe in the title enough that they can charge for it as an experience, and then maybe there will be a bunch of other stuff you can get to on the back end. And maybe it means that they decided that they want to make a game that they don't have to support for 100 years or whatever. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot going into this, but when a studio like Remedy, who's so talented in the single player creative space, is doing a game like this, this to me is only good news, because I think that it'll allow them to handcraft the game a little bit more by charging for it.
Yeah, and they're going to offer something different than what everyone else is offering. That's what they've been known to do. So you're paying for the experience, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think so. Moving forward, Jake, the Game Awards are upon us. December 7th is going to be the Game Awards. You and I, Jake, will have to make some predictions. We have plenty of time to do that, though, with them being December 7th. But the list of nominees has been released this year, and you can find them at pushsquare.com and anywhere else on the internet at this point. And I was happy to see that Alan Wake 2 does have a nomination for Game of the Year award. So, nice. God damn, make it happen, please. So good. The next one. Sony. This has been discovered. They're always patenting new things, but they patented a replay system for games, which actually sounds kind of cool. But they're indicating in the patent that it's going to require checkpoints to be manually flagged by developers. So you play a part in a game and you're like, wow, that was a really cool part of the game. It was really action-packed, cinematics, whatever. It was fucking dope. I want to go back and replay it without having a save state. Developers just have to put a flag on certain parts of their games for you to be able to revisit them. So I don't know if this happens in real time, but to me, what's different about this, I don't know, because like some games just have chapters. So like it's a specific point in a chapter, I guess.
Well, think about like a lot of games too also have like you can replay encounters.
Right.
Like even within a chapter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, like you said, I don't know what this really means, but maybe it allows you to jump to a specific cutscene, or maybe like a, you know, fuck, I don't know. Maybe they can literally make every single checkpoint in the game where you can go to it. And in that case, you can literally almost go anywhere you want in the game. But
just scrub right through
again,
it.
like you said, I don't really know. This to me seems like more of a developer-focused kind of news point, and I don't know how it really translates to somebody like us until we see an implementation of it. Because to us, from an end user's perspective, it might not seem any different than a game that has all this other stuff in it. But maybe them doing this makes it easier, and so more games will have much more granular checkpoint systems. And because the games that allow you to like replay encounters and all that stuff, that's very few and far between. And it's usually games that are based around like combat scores and ratings and stuff like that. It's usually not like, you know, when you're playing The Last of Us Part 2, it's not like, you know, I can just from the main menu without a save jump to the halfway through the aquarium in that game, and I won't go any further because I don't want to spoil it. But you know what I mean? Like maybe this just makes it easier for developers to make that type of thing available to gamers.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And the other thing is, though, too, you got to remember that Sony implemented the game help sections for games, and you could jump to certain points.
For Spider-Man 2, just so you know, it does work for a lot of the trophies, which is cool.
So maybe they're just trying to find a way for developers to let you jump to the point that they're offering game help for. You know?
Maybe.
I don't know. Something weird like that, maybe. But anyways, there could be some teeth to that idea. The next news point is nice to know, and very unlike Sony. Their discs, the disc drives that you can buy for the new PlayStations, if you have multiple consoles, you can detach it and just take the disc drive to any system and it works. So it doesn't get locked to the system you install it in. So
I think I did
that's interesting.
Read though that like there is some controversy because I think the first time you use one of these disc drives, you have to have an internet connection. But after that, it doesn't matter at all. I don't know if this is a true thing or not. I did hear something about this somewhere. And
it's a reliable source.
I don't fucking care. Like I have the internet. I don't live in the freaking Stone Ages.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me.
But like, you know, maybe if you live in the freaking Rockies in Montana and you don't have the internet, but you're somehow also able to listen to this podcast, maybe look into that before you buy one of these.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to think about in terms of like, if you're imagine you're younger, your friend can't afford the disc drive, you have a game, you want to play it at your friend's house, you want to take it over, and you can't because he doesn't have a disc drive, but you do because you have a rich family and they can afford the disc drive for you, right? And you're like, well, fuck. Hey, John, I got the disc drive. I'll bring it down. We can play my game on your system at your house. That's nice, right? That's convenient. It would suck if you had to have a separate disc drive for every console to use it. So it's nice it doesn't get locked. It's just unlike Sony because everything they do is like proprietary bullshit that you can't like... You know, I don't think I can plug my external hard drive into your system and play my games off of it. I think I have to like create an account associated with that hard drive and like all kinds of shit. So the disc drive itself works.
I mean, in that particular scenario, why wouldn't you just take your whole fucking PlayStation with you? But like, I get, but
my mom won't let me.
It does make sense from the perspective of like, oh, I want to have multiple PlayStations in my house. Like,
yeah,
I just buy one disc drive. That way, if I need. Although I don't know, man. It's just like one of those things.
How hard is it
like,
to install?
How inconvenient is it going to be where it's like, oh, well, I want to install this disc-based game on my PlayStation upstairs.
Let me pull off the disc drive real quick.
Let me break my fucking console in half so I can take the disc drive out, go upstairs, put it in my other console just to install this game that I could have bought fucking digitally. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so... Yo, just like Sony, just code the fucking discs so I can lock it to my account and then let me download it wherever the hell I want.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want you to do.
They can't do it. It's too big of a risk. Too much of a liability.
Honestly, I'm not even fucking around. I know I've mentioned this in the past before, but if they did that, so when I bought a disc and put it into my console, it became mine, like tied to my account, and then I could download digital versions, I would buy more physical versions.
Yeah, so would I, but I don't think they want you to.
Because I'd be interested in the collecting aspect, but I'm not interested in the fucking getting up and swapping discs out and all this shit aspect of
Kneeling
it.
over,
especially when you got a
opening the
game
case.
that's like, dude, especially when you got a game that's cross-platform. I don't know if you've experienced this, but it's fucking annoying that because I have a Witcher 4 disc or Witcher 3 disc for PS4,
yeah,
I stick it in. I perpetually have two Witcher 3 icons.
You have to download the
PlayStation.
PS5 version.
No, I have them. I have the PS5 version downloaded, but it perpetually has the PS4 version icon on my PlayStation because I have the PS4 disc in my drive.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. Anyway, I digress. I'm sorry.
Well,
continue.
That's fine. I understand. Next news point is another good one, Honkai Star Rail. We talked about this. This is from whatever they're called, studio. They're Genshin Impact. This is their latest baby. Now, over 1 million players on PS5. They apparently have another hit on their hands, following the exact same fucking formula as Genshin Impact. My brother plays them both. He can't stop, and he's hooked. Next news point. I would like to try Honkai Star Rail, if I'm being honest. Jake, you seem so distracted today. I love it. You look like me. That's usually what I'm doing. Spinning around in my chair, looking over my shoulder.
I've got a lot of shit going on.
It's fun. Next news point. 1/21/39. Here we go. Sony, unsurprisingly, has delayed 6 of their 12 live service games. Half of what they were planning on doing are now being delayed. The company announced they have scaled back their plans. 6 are still set, planning on being released fiscal year 2025. Layoffs, factions. What's going on, Sony? Did you jump the gun on games as a service? Do you realize how scary it is?
I think it's just, I don't know. It's probably just, I think it was smart for them to get into live service, but maybe saying like, yeah, we're going to do fucking 12 of them. Maybe that was a little bit ambitious.
A little bearish.
But I think you mean bullish, but
that's what I meant. Thank you.
Bearish is the opposite, but
bullish.
So anywho, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is like one of those news points where it's like kind of a non-news point because we don't know anything about any of these games.
Yeah,
so
no one knows anything.
We're literally just arguing about a number on
one of these
document. So like
one of these is factions. Are they the 6 that got delayed or the 6 that are still scheduled to come out? Who fucking knows?
Yeah, who knows? I mean,
what are the other 11?
I would assume that Concord and Fair Games are 2 other ones on there.
Probably still set to release.
I would assume that those ones will be. There's been indications that maybe Concord even might be slated for late next year, early 2025.
And are they dude, are they considering Marathon?
Marathon is a live service game. Is it? I don't remember if the
they're exclusive.
The wording was that it was exclusive to the PlayStation Studios, or if it includes all of Sony's umbrella, which would also include Bungie, because it's a very important distinction that Bungie is not inside of PlayStation Studios, so it's under Sony proper.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, if that's included, then I would say, yeah, Marathon is definitely going to be like probably a live servicey game for them. And who knows? Maybe there's like a Destiny 3 or something that's also in there. there could be a number of things.
Yeah, they really could. Jake, the big news that hit this past week, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about this. Although there's not a whole lot to say about it, except that, wow, that's sooner than I thought it was going to happen. But Grand Theft Auto 6 is getting a trailer to debut early December of this year.
So Game Awards, right?
No one knows. It's speculated.
You would think.
Some people think that Jeff Keighley would have been bragging about this by now since it got announced to advertise for the Game Awards, right? So
but
Game Awards are coming up.
I'm sure that you would want that hype factor, though, of it fucking dropping and not knowing whether or not it's going to be there. Like, I don't think that he would just be. Well, I mean, maybe there's a double-edged sword there. Like, you would hope that as a gamer, you would hope that they would take the old school tact of like just fucking dropping it in the middle of the thing and you not knowing for sure if it's going to be there. But from a business perspective, yeah, it probably makes sense for a game like Grand Theft Auto 6 to just say like the trailer's going to be at this conference. That way you like force people to tune in.
Right.
For your advertisers.
And Rockstar has no need to lean on the Game Awards though. So my guess is that they release. When is the Game Awards again? When did I say the Game Awards was?
7th, right? December 7th?
My guess is this. We get a trailer before the Game Awards, and then we get like a little splash screen that says, tune into the Game Awards for a gameplay reveal.
So you're saying there might be a teaser beforehand?
December 3rd, we get some sort of cinematic for GTA 6.
So you think they'll do like an abbreviated sort of Fallout 4 thing where they like announced it and then at E3 a month later they had this big half-hour blowout or like something like that?
No, I don't even think it's gonna be that. I think what they're gonna do, December 3rd or some shit, they're gonna drop what they're teasing now. And it's going to be some sort of song we all recognize. It's going to paint the setting for GTA 6, and it's going to be a cutscene of maybe one of the protagonists involved in something, and it's going to be maybe 25 seconds, 30 seconds long, and then they're going to say, "Tune into the Game Awards for more." And then at the Game Awards, we get like that same thing. But like maybe one mission that's like tailored and we get gameplay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on us getting gameplay this early because it's going to be earliest late next year probably. So I would say that game like proper deep dive gameplay is probably not going to happen till like we say E3, but that's mainly like a time marker. Like maybe Keighley's summer showcase next year or like PlayStation showcase or something. I'm sure that, dude, I guarantee what's probably going to happen is that they're going to give it's going to be a trailer. So it's going to be mostly cinematic, maybe like a touch of gameplay at Keighley's thing in December. And then Rockstar is going to be out there shopping Keighley, shopping PlayStation, Microsoft, fucking Gamescom, all these places to be like, who's going to pay us the most to have our gameplay reveal at your showcase? Mm-hmm. And I think there's going to be a bidding war for that because this game is going to be fucking enormous. And then we're going to get some kind of a mini blowout probably next summer.
Let me ask this. Do you agree we're going to get a song that we all recognize in this trailer? Oh shit. And whatever song they pick is going to paint the setting for the entire game somehow. It's so Rockstar. Like, I think it's going to happen. What if it's like a Nirvana song or something and it's like set in like not the early 90s?
I mean, that would be cool. Or like Nirvana, would be something that everybody would recognize.
It's got to be something huge that everyone would know.
You could see.
I can hear police sirens going like woo woo. You know what I mean? Like I could see GTA 6 and it's like some sort of fucking crazy car chase scene. Like I could see something just wild like that just to get people stoked.
Seems a little too action sports for me.
Okay.
But I do like your assessment that maybe they'll pick like some huge song from the 90s or something as like their, or whatever era this takes place in, as like their touchstone for the trailer.
Yeah.
The reveal trailer. And I don't know. I mean, it could easily
STP.
be like some, I have to imagine it would be something like big, like some kind of big pop song or something like that. But maybe
Like a Gaga song or something, or like
Well, I
fucking
don't-
Justin
I mean,
Bieber.
yeah, I don't know. But you might be right. I mean, maybe they would pick something like Pearl Jam or fucking
yeah.
some grunge song or yeah. Or even like or even like I mean, now granted, this is pushing a little bit back into the 80s, but you know, think about like Guns N' Roses or Metallica,
Sweet Child of Mine or something.
yeah. So like they could definitely do something like that, or even like, remember there was a big thing where a bunch of songs, like a lot of songs got kept in for the remakes or the remasters of like Vice City and stuff.
Yeah,
But I think one of the notable exclusions was Beat It by Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
From Vice City. And like that would be kind of like a cool sort of nod to the gamers to be like, yeah, we brought this song back, or it's like some fucking just, you know, top 10 all-time Michael Jackson song, like Thriller or something. Like that would be, I don't know. I'm just,
Grand Theft-
obviously we're just throwing shit at the wall.
Dude, well, Grand
but-
Theft Auto has always been a game based in different eras, right? You had like San Andreas was like, you know, the Compton, the whole, that whole era is what I got, you know, like the early gangster rap stuff was the vibe of that game. Vice City was like Miami Vice, 80s. The latest Grand Theft Auto, I don't even know. What was that, early 2000s maybe? You know?
Vice City?
No, the latest one, GTA 5. What era
GTA
was that?
That was,
Current,
I think that was
kind of.
just modern, like
Yeah.
modern day. So 2013, whatever that means.
So they got to pick like an era for this. Do they go present day again? Or do they dial back to a time period that they've already touched? What do they do? I don't know, man. I don't think they've really touched the 90s, but 80s was the funnest, I think. You know, they had the most
I thought
fun.
Vice City was my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
So I love the aesthetic. I love everything about it. And I think there's word that this game might actually be taking place in Vice City.
Oh, wow.
So they could do
They could harness ray tracing
like
and all
an
that
80s,
shit.
90s throwback, or even like a 70s. Imagine like some fucking coke fueled 70s
Disco
like,
fucking
disco
Boogie
thing.
Nights shit.
Like that would be kind of cool too. But I imagine they're gonna want to
The
harness
BGs.
for the sake of the multiplayer and everything. I imagine they're gonna want to harness the modern day. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like it's more marketable. Like there's a reason why Red Dead didn't sell as well as Grand Theft Auto.
Well, and it's a little
because-
redundant to have to stop at payphones, right? You got to
Right.
have cell phones. So you gotta
Imagine
have
having like a bag phone in your car to like in the 90s to
Jesus.
fucking call someone.
It's got like the big antenna you got to pull out. I'd like to see like Beastie Boys Sabotage could be the song.
That would be a good one.
That would be fantastic. That sounds GTA 6 to me. Beastie Boys Sabotage. That would be perfect.
I mean, there's a number of Beastie Boys songs they could use.
Yeah, Fight for the Right to Party, No Sleep to Brooklyn. Could be so good. Anyways,
Although you would think that a Beastie Boys song would be reserved for if it was taking place in New York.
dude, you would think they would have one in one by now. There's not. I don't think
Yeah.
there is a Beastie Boys track
is
in
kind
any
of-
Grand Theft Auto game.
That is kind of interesting.
I don't know. What do they have against the B-Boys, dude? They're so good. All right.
Hell yeah.
Next news point. Write in. Let us know what you think. What era is the GTA 6 going to be set in? What is the first song you hear in this trailer? What era is it going to be in? Watch it be like a Taylor Swift song or some shit.
I mean, whatever hits, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I like Taylor Swift. She's great at what she does. I'm not
Hell
ripping on
yeah.
her, but it's not what I want in Grand Theft Auto 6. Maybe 7. I'll be okay with it. She'll be old news by then.
It'll be like something off of the new Hot Water Music album.
Nah, I wouldn't even want that. It would be cool, but I wouldn't want that.
There's no fucking way. People would be like, "Who is this band?"
I need a remedy. Just like what the fuck is this? Even though they're like huge in my world, but yeah, very good. All right, so next news point is, geez, I don't even know where I was. Phil Spencer. Yeah. Phil Spencer was talking about Xbox and how Microsoft and Xbox need to consider Nintendo and PlayStation users part of their Xbox community. Yeah, sure, man. If you want.
Dude, you really have to imagine they're angling for some sort of like service future where they
Games
can
Pass on PSN, dude.
Like imagine if Xbox, like imagine if this is like what he's kind of driving at here is like if you log in to Game Pass on your television or your smartphone or whatever the fuck, and you enter your PSN profile, it'll like automatically update all of your achievements to match all the trophies you've got and all this kind of stuff. Like, and there's a little bit more seamlessness between the two in that way. It might convince a lot of PlayStation gamers to come over. I don't know. But I think Xbox really wants to get Game Pass on PlayStation and stuff. So I think that's part of what they're really angling towards, is just having Game Pass everywhere.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are for sure. Dude, this is a digression. We're going to get to new games here in 1 second, but we're almost done with the podcast. But I have this clip from our show. You guys got to remember, like, Troy plays in a band. He's been in bands with me for forever, and he's so reserved and chill. But he's a fucking wild man on stage. It's so weird. I mean, maybe people feel the same way about me. I'm not as crazy as him. I'm stuck in front of the mic the whole time. But I posted this little boomerang thing of us at our release show. And Troy is going off the rails. And you would think we were in a metal band or something. Like, he gets like 3 super... Jake, I'm going to text this to you because it's like one of the funniest things. And then I want your reaction on the show because it's so ridiculous. And I don't know if you've seen this. Just watch. Just watch Troy. There's no sound. Just watch Troy in this video I'm sending you right now. He does like 2 or 3 massive headbangs. And he takes his arm and just throws it up in the air. Like he's like, yeah, fuck yeah. And he gives another fucking headbang. It's the funniest clip. I sent it to Brandon. He's just out of control. He's just out. He's out. Isn't that hilarious?
Shit when the flood plays.
Yeah, he sits in a chair and he doesn't even move when he plays with the flood because he's got the lap steel. But then you put him on the stage with Wanted by Land and he's just a fucking wild man. It's like he got released from serving a 25-year sentence. Like he's just fucking ready.
Man, he's a psycho.
He is a psycho. There's something not right about him. But I sent it to Brandon because Brandon played Signal Home with us. And I was like, dude, I'm only sending this to you because I know you're going to be in stitches watching Troy. You know, Troy's my age. He's like 41, 42, might be 42. There's just no way a human should be able to move like that who doesn't do this all the time. You know what I mean? Like he's just out of control. Paul did did you see Paul's bass throw? Like what?
I feel like I caught the end of it because people were like, I don't know. There was that group of people right up there up by the stage on his side that were like cheering for him or whatever.
So funny. Yeah, he did he whipped the bass around like he was in Fallout Boy or something. Just wham, right around. I mean, you could have hit me in the face with that thing. That bass neck is like about 7 feet long. But he totally went for it and it worked. I was like, wow, we were on fire. You know, it was a cool show.
Yeah, it was great.
I got a text from Brandon. He was like, "Yo, man, that video didn't it said it expired. Send it again. So I just sent it to him. So I can't wait for his response. There's nothing more enjoyable. Out of all my friends, I get the most pleasure out of making him laugh. Like, I can make other people laugh. It's fun. But when you get Brandon laughing, it's so enjoyable. I don't know if it's just because his laugh is so genuine and he's just like, he can't stop. And yeah, he's got like,
Dude,
his
I think literally the last time I saw him was at your wedding.
Oh my gosh. It's been a while for me too. In fact, this is such a digression, listeners. I apologize. One last thing. One of my land has another show in Meadville right around Thanksgiving time. And we're just doing like a regular set, which is awesome. You know, it's going to be it's not going to be 15 songs, but it's November 25th and it's at the Firehouse on the second floor there. And our friend Greg put it on, and he's the guy who used to do all of the shows in Meadville when we were kids growing up. Greg's doing an anniversary show on November 25th. Thanksgiving is going to be a busy night. And he really wanted Signal Home to reunite to play one song. And we were all on board, but Brandon was busy. And we were going to play Fragile Constitution, like the first song, Fragile Constitution. We're going to play it. And Brandon was like, I can't, I already got plans. I'm like, God damn it, Brandon. Like, just fucking make it happen. It would be so fun. But it's not
show up for 5 minutes, play this fucking song.
Yeah, it would be so awesome to have on video. You know what I mean? It would be so good. But I'm pretty sure he put his drum kit away. He may have even sold it. I don't think he had the Spawn.
Didn't Paul buy that red one from him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think he ended up with another one, or maybe he just didn't. But I mean, like, Brandon's so good on drums, he could just do it. He's probably a little out of shape and out of practice because he told me he has not been drumming or anything like that. You know, he was a little older than me, so he's probably like 44, which really isn't that old when you think about it. But
yeah,
old enough if you haven't been doing it for a while. It's a full body workout. But man, I would have loved to have that come together. It would have been so fun. What a surprise that would have been for some people who knew.
Sure.
You know, that'd have been fucking dope. But can't make it happen, of course. That's why we can't have nice things. Brandon has to spend Thanksgiving with family somewhere in a faraway land. Anyways, new games, guys. That was quite the digression. It wasn't really that long. It was less than 5 minutes. I'm looking at my timestamps here. New games, November 14th, Astral Ascent, Corral Island, Karma Zoo, Super Crazy Rhythm Castle, Turok 3, Shadow of Oblivion. Weird. Remember the Turok games. November 15th, Lily and Puzzle World, Teardown, The King of Fighters 8. It's 8, sorry, it's Roman numerals.
13.
10? 13, correct. I read the X as a 5. The King of Fighters 13 global match, The Last Faith. I'm so tired of Roman numerals. I know how to read them, but it breaks my brain for a hot minute. Especially when you have the IV. And anything after, like, I don't know, like 29 or something would be tricky too. November 16th is Flashback 2. This game looks awesome. That's nice. That's coming out. Jagged Alliance 3, Yohane the Parhelion, Blaze in the Deep Blue is all one game. November 17th, Bluey the video game, Christmas Massacre, Naruto X Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections, Persona 5 Tactica, The Walking Dead Destinies, which looks interesting, but a little late to the party, I think. And then Tiger Blade on PSVR 2. Persona 5 Tactica. Jake, any of these?
I'm stoked about that. I don't know if I'm going to... I mean, I'm going to probably download... Because it's on Game Pass, so I'll probably download it at least to check it out. But, you know, I like Persona 5, so I'm curious to see what this game's going to be like. Because it's a tactics game. So... we'll see how sticky it is for me, but I'm definitely interested in seeing what it's all about. I'm sure Sarah will be thrilled. She used to get so irritated when I would play Persona because it's like 9 million hours long, and she just got so sick of the music. I mean, the music is good, but she got sick of it by the end.
I have a feeling that Flashback 2 game is going to be a silent... it's going to creep silently up the charts if they did it right. I remember the first Flashback being really cool. If they did this right, it could really take some people by surprise.
Yeah.
So I got my eye on that one. I just said The Walking Dead Destiny is a little late to the party because it's like a lot of the TV series decisions, and it's like what would have been had this happened, had that happened. But it's like, dude, like a lot of people quit watching that shit. So like, I don't know if there's much interest in that anymore, but there might be some diehard fans that are stoked on that. But it just seems like it's a little late. If that would have come out like 5 years ago, oh my God, it'd have been fucking huge.
Is that the weird one that we were talking about the other few weeks ago that we didn't know what the hell that even was?
Yeah, there's a trailer for it now that shows you.
Yeah, okay.
There are just like some deciding points in the game. Like
it's like not really a game.
It runs like parallel with like the TV series, and then it's like, oh, instead of huge spoiler, guys, here's one of the first episodes, first seasons or whatever. But like when Shane gets taken down, right? It's like, what would have happened if Shane was the one that lived? And then like it changes the history of The Walking Dead, right? And then all the decisions afterwards involve different characters. And it's like, okay, like I guess if I fucking give a shit, it would be cool. But again, it's not even how it was intended to be written. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's like the Marvel, like what if so-and-so happened, or what if this happened? It's like for all the people that are like, oh yeah, but what if this would have happened? And then they turn it into an actual publication. I don't know, it's kind of stupid. Alternate reality shit. For me, it's kind of stupid. Some people probably love that shit. That's all I got, Jake. Do you have anything else you'd like to add before we close out for the day? This has been a nice long podcast. I appreciate you sitting with me this evening. On a Monday night, we air, what'd I say? We air every Wednesday. If you're a patron, support the show. Usually you get the show on Mondays. This week is an exception. You're going to get it a little bit later, but you will still get it before Wednesday. So you'll be getting this on Tuesday. Anything, Jake? You got anything to part the listeners with?
No. I hope I get to play Alan Wake. I'm really curious. I want to get back to it. I want to get back into it seems really spooky, and it's pretty fucking intense compared to the first one. So
yeah.
I'm excited.
I will say, can I say this real quick? If you do play Alan Wake, the sound design is fantastic. If you are not playing it with Sarah, and she's just like not in, let her know it's going to be like a 24-hour, 23-hour adventure. She may not have the fortitude to want to sit there with you while you do all of that, but she may, because she likes narrative. If she chooses not to, I will say this. I challenge you to plug your headphones into the controller and do it that way. Completely be enamored by this environment and be in this world. Putting headphones on is a whole different level of immersion. I promise. And it's so intense. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. And locational, like you can hear like where the enemies are, and it helps a lot. That's all. It's my even if she wants to sit and watch, obviously, and enjoy the story with you, which I'm all about. I think you guys should do that together. I'm a supporter of that. But I think you need to, for your own sake, just run through like 15 minutes with headphones on and tell me it's not the best experience as far as the way to play that game. Because I made the transfer about 15 hours into headphones, and I was like, holy shit, this is the way to go. So good.
I believe it. It's very atmospheric.
It's so good. So good. All right, Jake. Well, good luck in Alan Wake 2 territory. I hope you come out alive. I don't know what's going to happen. I know the whole thing. I'm still a little confused by the whole story, and I'm going to probably watch more of the explanation. Let me just say this, too, real quick, because I'm going to change the title of the show. I had it titled The Grand Theft Auto 6 is Incoming, but changing it to, like, Alan Wake 2, spoiler-free discussions. I think it's been pretty spoiler-free. Dude,
Don't call it that, because certain people won't want to listen to the episode. Just call it the Grand Theft Auto 6.
All right, fine. But we talked a lot about it. I guess where I'm at with Alan Wake 2, dude, is just like, it's just, I don't even know what the fuck I was going to say. It was important, though. Oh, the story, I was going to compare it to Control again. better than Control. Some people are saying Control is better. Alan Wake 2 is much better. So much better than Control. And I'll also say that it's better than Alan Wake 1. So maybe not as good as Max Payne. Which is a hot take. Max Payne was revolutionary when that came out. But I will say Alan Wake 2 took all the necessary leaps and risks, and I think they all pay off. I think they took it to the limit they knew that they could without taking it too far that it ruined the experience. They took you right to the edge, and it's like, this is a beautiful game. This is a masterpiece. This is a masterclass in storytelling, and when you're done with it, you're just going to be like, what the fuck? Like, you're going to have to just sit there and be like, I think I understand this shit. But I still, coming out of Alan Wake 2, feel like I understand it way more than I knew what the fuck was happening in Control. They did it right. They did it right. I'm not going to play Control 2. I think in my takeaway, I said if they do a Control 2, I hope they don't. You know, if they're working on something else. I redact that because I've seen what they can do as a studio. In Control 2, I just hope to God it's more refined, and I hope that they follow the dedication that they have with Alan Wake 2 in the story. Control was just all over the fucking place. I don't even think they knew what they were doing in Control. I really don't. I don't think they even know the story they were telling. I really don't believe that they can possibly understand it. They'll tell you they know what it's about, and they'll try to fucking put together these lines, and you'll see like 5-hour explanations of Control by YouTubers, and everyone pretends like they fucking get it, but no one fucking gets it. There's no way. I'm telling you, you can't get Control. You might pick up pieces of it and you think you know what it means. Alan Wake, I think if you dig just enough, Alan Wake 2 it'll make sense. And it's like, wow, that's fucking rad. You know what I mean? Like, there's something rad about it. Control is just fucking, dude. It's like here's a desert. Go find the grain of sand that I threw out there 2 years ago from an airplane. I put a black dot on it. Like, you know, go find it. It's out there. It exists. You sift through all that shit, and maybe you'll come out with the answer. Control is just so fucking buried, dude. It doesn't make sense. Done. Rant done. Thanks for listening. PS is Awesome, episode 302. Thanks, Jake, again for your time this Monday evening. We will catch up with you guys next week. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube. Go at it. Why haven't you done this yet? Add our channel. And you also need to check out our Patreon, please. You like our show. I know you're out there, and I know you're listening. And go check it out. $1 a month, baby. You can do it. All right. Anyways, that's it. Like Karmazoo, Killer Frequency, and Knockout City. P.S.
Yes.
This is awesome.
This is awesome.